Hello, and I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to continue on with Unit 10, and we are going to be adding in those integer word problems. So do me a favor, at the very front of your notebook where the units of study are, add in those integer word problems under Unit 10, and then go ahead and turn back into Unit 10 until you run into an empty page. All right, so here are our first notes for integer word problems. So the first thing that we need to talk about is remember our integer keywords. Now these were also from Unit 6. So if you need to refer back to what we did in Unit 6, you're welcome to. I would rewrite these into your notebook so that you have them with Unit 10, but if you would like to flag them also back in Unit 6, you're welcome to. So our positive words: receives, deposits, warmer, rose, increase, profit, gain, add, extra, ascends, credit, rise, and we can add more words as we find them with our unit. Our negative words are spend, withdraw, deducts, loss, writes a check, colder, beneath, change, debt, owe, charge, remove, and falls. So those are positive words and negative words. Now we're going to use them in our word problems for our lesson today. So what I recommend you do, pause this video really quick, copy into your notebook this word problem, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So looking at this problem, we're going to first start by highlighting some of our key information here. So it says Tina supports her favorite charity with an automatic deduction of $11 per month. Calculate her total deduction for the year. So she's doing a deduction of $11 per month. So what that's telling me is there's money coming out of her checking account every month, and it's $11. And it wants to know the total deduction for the year. Now, the biggest mistake that a lot of people will make is they say, oh, here's the word total, and it means addition. And that is 100% not the case. If your teacher said that total is the only word you look at when you're looking at a word problem to figure out if it's addition, nope, we got to backtrack a little bit. So let's start by looking at the front of the problem. I'm going to make some notes here. It says a deduction of $11 per month. Well, deduction would tell us that it is a negative number. So this is actually telling us it's negative $11 per month. Now this whole chunk right here is a ratio. So we can actually treat it like a ratio. So we can compare dollars to months. And I know that's going to be negative $11. Now when it says per month, that's referring to only 1 month. So it's negative 11 for 1 month. And it wants to know the deduction, so I know it's going to be negative for the year. Well, I'm not in years, I'm in months. So you have to think to yourself, okay, well, if I know I need the year, how many months are in the year? And there are 12 months in the year. So I can use it as like a missing piece of a ratio table. So how would I get from 1 to 12? I'd multiply times 12. And then how would I get from, so if whatever I do at the bottom, I also have to do the top. And this is just one method. I'm going to teach you another one. And whenever I do that, I do negative 11 times 12. So I know that 11 times 12 is 121. And then what I would recommend you do is draw yourself the little triangle. A negative, because the 11 is negative, times a positive, the 12 is positive, so I'm left with a negative solution. So I get negative 100 and, oh, I'm sorry, it's not 121, my mistake. That would be 11 times 11. This should be 132, negative $132. Now what happens if you didn't see that this was a ratio? Well, that's okay, let's talk about a different method. So I know that I do negative $11 for 1 month, and I need to get to 12 months. So you could have easily just taken negative 11 times 12, and you still would have gotten the same answer, which was that negative $132. So either method is okay. I really like the ratio method just because it goes along with what we've talked previously in our units. But if you can see that this is multiplication here, then have at it. So that's our first problem. Let's look at our next one. go ahead and take a second, copy it down into your notebook, and then when you're ready, unpause the video and we will get started on it. So again, I'm going to start by reading the problem and highlighting my keywords. So it says on a certain day, the temperature changed at a rate of -3 degrees Fahrenheit per hour. How long did it take for the change in temperature to be -33 degrees? So I know it changed at -3 per hour, and it wants to know how long for the temperature to be -33. Okay. So I know straight off the bat, because these two numbers are in the same sentence and they're comparing and they're related, I know that this is a ratio. So I'm going to make a note that I know that that is a ratio, because I can use that to help me solve this problem. I'm comparing degrees to hours. So I know it's -3 degrees per hour means 1 hour, so it's -3 for 1 hour. And I want to get to this -33 degrees, so that's going to go on the top. And I'm looking for this blank on the bottom. So that's one method. And if I solve this one, I know I'm going to have to multiply by 3 times what gives me 33, so it'd be 11, and it'd be a positive, because a negative times a positive would still give me that -33. So I know it's going to be a positive 11, and whenever I do the bottom, the top, I have to do to the bottom. So 1 times 11 gives me 11. And I can also have another method for this one. I know that I want to get to -33, and I have to break it into hours that are each -3. So you could just do division there also. I know that all the temperature amount needs to be -33. I know that it's -3 per hour. So how long is it going to take? It's going to take me 11 hours. So 11 hours would be your answer for that one. Like I said before, I personally like the ratio because it pulls back from things that we've already done. But if you know that it's just straight up division, then have a party and just do straight up division. All right. So the next two problems we're going to talk about are combining integers. And remember, that relates back to our addition and subtraction of integers. So here's our first one. Go ahead and copy it down, and then we'll talk through it. So it says it will be -12 degrees Fahrenheit tonight, and the weatherman predicts that it will be 15 degrees warmer by tomorrow afternoon. What will be the temperature tomorrow? So I know that it's -12 degrees tonight, and the weatherman's predicting it will be 15 degrees warmer for tomorrow. And it wants to know the temperature tomorrow. So I have to figure out, okay, where am I starting? Reading my problem, I'm starting at this -12. There's not another number with it to be a ratio, so I'm just starting it straight up. -12 degrees. And it's getting warmer. When something's getting warmer, that's telling you, warmer is telling you this is a positive number. So I'm getting warmer, or I'm adding 15 degrees to get my answer. So in this problem, you have multiple methods to solve it. You could draw out 12 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you would do your positives. 15 of them in this case. But I'm not going to write out all of them, honestly. Because looking at this, if I zero pair them, I know that every time I match one up, that was bad, I'm going to be canceling them. And I know that there are 12 negatives and there are 15 positives. If I have 12 negatives and 15 positives, I know that 12 of them are going to cancel. And I'm going to have some left over. And the ones I'm going to be left over are positive, because there's more positives than there are negatives. The question is, how many more positives am I going to have left over? Well, I'm going to have 3 positives left over, so it's going to be 3 degrees Fahrenheit for our answer there. You could also use the number line where you are looking at starting at negative 12, and then you add 15 to move forward on the number line, and you'll end at positive 3. Looking at the next one for combining integers, go ahead and take a second, copy it down, and then we'll talk about it. So Josie has $17 in her bank account. If she needs to write a check for $21, how much money will be in her account? So I know that she has 17, and she's going to write a check for 21. So if I have 17, that's telling me that it is a positive number because I have it already. So it's a positive 17. But if you look back in your notes, when I write a check, that's telling me it's a negative number, so I know that this is negative 21. And if I look at this first number, it's not paired with something else, so it's not a ratio. It's just an independent 17. I'm starting at 17, and then I'm writing a check, which means negative 21. How much money will be in her account? Now remember, you have to look at the 2 terms. The first term is a 17, the second term is a negative 21. Again, if I think about this with positives and negatives, I would have 17 positives, 21 negatives. I have more negatives than I do positives. Well, the question is, how many more negatives than positives do I have? 17, if I count up to 21, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I would have 4. And they would end up being negatives because there's more negatives here than there are positives. Now, if you need to draw it out, you're more than welcome to draw it out. If you need to use a number line, use a number line. But I'm just giving you a strategy to help you here. Okay, so if you need to draw out all of those pieces to see it, you need to draw out all 17 and all 21, go ahead and do it. There'd be 17 positives and 21 negatives. Cancel them out. Do the 0 pairs. And like I said, if you need to use the number line, use a number line. Draw one, negative 20 to positive 20. So all of those are strategies to help you. We've been going over word problems for a lot of the year. Just take your time, highlight your important information, and figure out what is your first step you need to take. Make sure you ask your teacher if you have any questions.